April financial year, April to March. IFRS need not create a confusion on the year because IFRS has nothing to do with the year. IFRS is basically on the presentation and the valuation. I don't see any. How do you say the IFRS would? That's what I'm saying. In those cases, we'll have two closures, whether we like it or not. Already we are doing that. See, it's not as if two closures are unknown. It is not. That is not a problem created by this provision. It's already there. We are doing it anyway. Right now, what will happen? Your income tax and your company law accounts will be the same. Will be the same. But as of now, what we are doing, when it is not the same, also we give an audit report. We give notes on accounts. We give schedule. Everything we give for March also is the point. Because income tax people also want in the revised schedule 6 format. They also know that it is to be. Though it's a mock audit because I'm not reporting to the shareholders. I'm only reporting. I'm giving a report to the shareholders, but they are not going to meet in an AGM and approve that accounts are something like that. Very funny. That situation can be now changed, is the point. As I said, the bill does not prescribe whether the financial year can be extended or not. They are not prescribing anything. But again, you see, one thing that by now people would have told you, Dr. B. Ravi, K. Ramesh, would have told you, this act is going to be a rule-driven one. It's going to be completely rule-driven. There are going to be so many rules coming in, notifications and circulars, which means a new Ramaya can be created. Am I correct or not? The old Ramaya, I don't know. That is another major query, the question that I always ask myself. If at all this bill comes in and the new act comes in, what will happen to our bulky Ramaya? Will it continue or will they make it small and then start making it big again? Is what I want. Because there may be one or two sections that have precedence. But other than that, you will find that most sections do not have. I think the Ramaya has to considerably reduce in size again to start going back. But there will be a lot of clarifications and doubt. But then let me assure you, I don't think they are going to go back on the uniform financial year. They will not introduce, they cannot, see the rule cannot be passed in such a way to circumvent the provisions of the act. And the act here is very clear. The act is, there should be a 12-month period beginning on 1st April and ending on 31st of March. Moving on, these are two provisions that are unique to the new law. They are not there in the old law. Basically, here it talks about reopening and recasting of accounts. This is a clear repercussion or this is a clear-cut knee-jerk reaction to Satyam. What happened in Satyam was, there was a fraud. And because of the fraud, the accounts were overstated. Therefore, but they did not know what to do. See? So the government passed a specific GO under 408. Direction was given to Satyam to redraft the accounts and the auditors were asked to certify the accounts again. The new auditors were asked to certify the accounts again. But now they are giving a statutory recognition to this type of a approach. See, what are the conditions precedent? You want to reopen and recast your account. The two words used are reopening and recasting. Opening, we know, opening means what is already audited, what is already completed will be again opened. But I am very surprised and a funny word that they are using here, it's called recasting. Normally the word casting in our accounting terminology only means totaling. When we cast, we are only totaling and we are correcting the total. So when you are recasting, you are only retotaling the balance sheet. Is that the intention? Because that is not a big deal. If there is a totaling mistake, we can always correct it. There is already provision there for correcting, and I hope we are not so clerically incompetent that a balance sheet would be badly casted, that it has to be reopened and recasted. Are they talking about recast? Do they mean by the word recasting that it will be shall we say, re-prepared? Then I would humbly suggest that the word casting needs to be reviewed. Maybe now the law has extended the meaning of the word casting. I don't know how many of you will agree with me on the word casting. Because casting usually in accounting and audit, what we mean, it's a totaling. That's all. It is not correct. It is not recasting. Satyam was complete reversal of entries. I'll tell you, in Satyam, they have to totally reverse all the sales. Everything was reversed. Accounting entries, JVs need to be passed and everything need to be recorrected. So recorrected, or rectification is a word that we could have used, but rectification is going to come next. We can also rectify the accounts. But here we are only talking about recasting. I don't know, it's only a suggestion. No, 100%. The intention is there, but unfortunately the word is recasting. That is all I'm saying. They can put rectification or they can put redrafting would be a better word. Redrafting would be a better word rather than recasting. Anyway, as of now, the intention here is where there is the accounts are prepared in a fraudulent manner. The affairs of the company are mismanaged, casting doubt on the reliability of the financial statements. This is a clear repercussion from Satyam. This is both the conditions were there in Satyam scam, as we know. And in Satyam scam, what happened? There was an overstatement of the turnover. Because there is an overstatement of the turnover, they have to have a corresponding expenditure. So there is an overstatement of the number of employees that they are employing in order to boost the salary. Now the profit is come. Where will the profit be? Normally the profit will be held in the bank. So because of that, they committed the final fraud, which was giving bogus fixed deposit receipts and showing bogus FD. See, there were three aspects: fraudulent sales, fraudulent employee, and to cover up the fraudulent profit, they also showed fraudulent cash and bank balances in the books, which were see, have you ever thought about it? This type of a fraud can happen only for a company like Satyam. It cannot happen for a brick and mortar company. For example, a company like say Ashok Leyland cannot do this. Or for that, not that Ashok Leyland would ever want to do that. Or for that matter, Tata cannot do this. The reason is they are in a brick and mortar industry where so many other controls are there. Somebody wants to verify the turnover, they can do so from so many other sources independent of this company. For example, as an auditor, I can verify so many other things. For example, if I want to know the turnover, whether they are showing the correct turnover or not, I can ask for the VAT return. I can ask for the excise return. I can tally the service receipts with the service tax return, which is what we normally do. This is a standard auditing procedure that we follow, that unless I got at least 2 or 3 third-party confirmations on a figure, I don't say that the figure is correct. But unfortunately in Satyam, the auditors had no such third-party verification except the customer. And the volume is so high that they are unable to verify from the customer. So they relied a lot on what the company was saying. So here's the situation where, but here this cannot be done unilaterally. This cannot be done, shall we say, casually. The company cannot do this on its own. It has to make the application should be made by the central government or the income tax authorities or by the SEBI or any other statutory authority to a court or the tribunal. They have not specified where. It can go to either the court or it can go to the tribunal, and the court or tribunal will pass an order that the conditions precedent exist. Thereafter, the company, right now there is no power given to the central government. In fact, under section 408, central government has a lot of powers, supernumerary powers, including, for your information, the current 408(6), the similar provision survives in the bills. Companies bill also has the same provision for appointing directors by central government. Whenever central government appoints directors, the central government also gets the power to remove the auditors. I don't know whether you are aware of this. Whenever the central government appoints directors under section 408 erstwhile, the central government also gets the power to remove the auditors. That is the only circumstance when central government can directly remove an auditor appointed by the shareholders. Normally an auditor appointed by the shareholders, there is no provision in the act, even the new bill, by which the auditor appointed by the shareholders can be removed by the central government. But where there is mismanagement, that's what they use here, the word mismanagement, or where there is oppression or mismanagement, and the shareholders have made an application to the tribunal, and the tribunal has directed the central government to appoint directors to safeguard the interest of the company, then and only then central government gets the power to review the appointment of the auditor, because in those cases they may appoint another auditor to audit the accounts, in which case this section now empowers the auditor to the central government or the income tax authorities, whoever, to reopen the accounts. Currently there is only one provision. We'll see the next one and then I'll explain the current situations. This is voluntary revision of accounts. Here they use the word revision. They don't talk about recasting. Here they talk totally about revision. 130 says, where it appears to the board of directors of the company that the financial statements are not in conformity with section 129, that is the equivalent of 209, or section 134, then they can try to, they can open the accounts again and revise it. Now, the revised financial statements or the report may be prepared in respect of any of the 3 preceding financial years. But this has to be done only by prior approval of the tribunal, and the application is to be made by the company, and the form and manner is yet to be prescribed. Now, friends, I do find a scope for practicing company secretaries here. Yeah. Board of directors. Correct. Ah. No. I'll tell you what could happen. Absolutely correct. But exactly, I'll explain to you. What happens, see, the Income Tax Act is changed. And the Supreme Court passes an order that a particular accounting treatment which was given for a particular item will have a tax implication. Now what we find that we have created that accounting treatment when substance over form, we are saying it is not like that. In which case, today there are many companies that are changing their accounts. For example, construction contracts, so on and so forth, where we may want to change or we may want to make the stock in trade. We may want to convert some of the land as stock in trade, which we have not done at that time. We passed the accounts. We can now reopen. Even now it is possible. But even now it is possible only if you are opening the accounts and revising it for conforming with the taxing statute. Now, there's a clear-cut Ministry of Corporate Affairs circular. If you are interested, I can give you the... Absolutely. No. This is not for that. This can be anything. This can be anything. Earlier it is, currently, as of now, you can only rectify your accounts of the previous year in order to conform with the taxing statute. Suppose there is an error in the previous year's accounts, which is noticed now. It is quite possible. A provision has been left out or an account, it is, sir, error is human. Yeah, materiality is what we will see here. Okay. Let us say that something has been left out. There we have no problem. We have accounting standard 4. Prior period item. I can simply take it as a prior period item. I can make a disclosure. If it is material, I can make a disclosure and say, last year bills were left out. Current year it is being accounted. See, so we don't have to reopen the old accounts. But suppose we want the old accounts to reflect a certain picture, then we are allowed to do this. It is being, now the procedure is given. You can actually do it in respect of any of the 3 preceding financial years. So you can keep on rectifying your accounts. Okay. Now, as I was saying, you might, okay, here is an opportunity for company secretaries. Though there may not be, of course, for chartered accountants, it's a slightly issue. Why didn't you see it at that time? But believe me, no. There are many situations where we would not also be aware of the subsequent prospective changes, for which we may have to have a retrospective amendment of the accounts. It is happening today. Many listed companies are amending their accounts subsequently in order to comply with the taxing statute. Sir, actually, Satyam, the number of years manipulated was only 2 years, sir. Okay, because 1.5 years, effectively, the last quarter of the 1 year and complete 12 months in another year. That's all. Okay. So, sorry, now they have made it 3 years. No, this is not for Satyam. This is for any honest company also. Where, see, don't think that it is wrong to go and reopen and rectify. For example, valuation of stock. We might have taken one view. The department will then thereafter come out with a beautiful thing saying, department will accept only FIFO valuation. So what happens? They're not told that. Earlier many companies were doing LIFO. But then when the accounting standard was amended, many companies who are currently having, LIFO, needed to go back to, because the income tax department said we will not consider. Similarly, excise duty needed to be included in the stock. For that, many companies at that time have reopened their old accounts also and rectified. Nothing wrong in that per se, provided it's, again I tell you, if it is an error or omission, you don't have to go through this process. You can as well make that rectification entry in the current year's accounts. You don't have to go through this. It's only when you want that year's accounts to reflect a particular balance or any other, it's quite possible that a particular corresponding entry, see, TDS is possible, where some income was not accounted by us, but the corresponding expenditure has been accounted by some other group company. Then you might want to reopen and account it. In those cases, you can take this into account.
If you are opening, again it goes to the board.
Absolutely.
Again it goes to the shareholder. So
absolutely.
We don't again fight to the Minister of Corporate Affairs.
Exactly. So this is where the route. This is an opportunity for you as a company secretary, practicing company secretary or a company secretary to advise your management. It's a beautiful opportunity available to you. In fact, because this needs permission from the prior approval of the tribunal and the application is to be made by the company in the form and manner prescribed. I sincerely feel the companies would prefer to come to a company secretary to do this for them. And the chartered accountant who is auditing would be giving you supportive information. We would be giving you the information as to why this type of error is there, you will have to justify it to the tribunal and get the approval from the tribunal for recasting, revising the accounts. Here talking about revision. Here, that is one more reason why I am still not clear about the word recasting in the earlier section. Here they use the word revision, whereas there they don't use the word rectification or revision. They rather use the word recasting. So my humble point is there is a lot of clarity needed there. I am not trying to throw any light where there is darkness. I am only saying it is not clear. Let us wait for further information from the department. Yes, sir. Is it? One second, sir. I'll tell you what. I will take questions as it goes because the content-wise it's not much. After I complete it, also you can ask questions if you want. Yes, see, ultimately, any change or any revision of accounts will have to be approved by the board, as he rightly said. It has to be approved by the auditors. The audit, it is not only that you have to give a clear-cut note in the notes on accounts as to why you are doing it, and it will be coming before the shareholders. Now, at that point, it's open to the shareholders as the find what is wrong, and they can raise the question. And if worse comes worse, they can refuse to pass the accounts as revised if they feel that the revision is prejudicial. But let us not forget that before all this is happening, a judicial review has happened. So tribunal will not give a prior approval for any matter which is fraudulent or which is, so I do not anticipate any major concern from the investor community, is what I said. Because a lot of safeguards have been built into the system. First level, tribunal itself is going to go through. Second level, the board of directors will again, in a transparent organization. Thirdly, the chartered accountant and auditor also may refuse to sign. He may say, what I signed earlier is correct. I don't want to sign. Why not? In which case you can't. So, Here you mean investor, public investor, or you are talking about? See, public investors, when the accounts are audited and then approved by the shareholders only, it will become public information. Till such time, I don't think access will be there for the public investor. Even otherwise, see, unsigned accounts, unaudited accounts, if they are releasing, that is okay. But other than that, I don't think we will be giving any rough cut accounts to the investors. Once it is signed by the auditors, the revised accounts are signed by the auditors and approved by the shareholders, it will come to the investors. See, the investor has to form his own opinion based on the nature of the revision. That's how the investor should think. So, are you involved with the investor movement, sir? Okay, thank you. Because I am the secretary of the Tamil Nadu Investor Association. Nane concerned. Anyway, it's a good point. Okay, but I am having, see, for your information, the company's bill 2012 is an investor-friendly bill. There is for your information, I don't know whether anybody else has mentioned it. Stakeholders committee is being formed. A new committee called the Stakeholders Committee is being formed, so that in case there is any stakeholder is concerned about the company, he can make an application to the Stakeholders Committee. It's a very powerful provision. I thought I will share that with you. The new bill. Yes, sir. Thank you. Next one. We have already finished this. Yeah, sorry. The tribunal, once it gets the application, should give a notice to the central government and IT authorities for their representations, if any. And revision of the financial statements not to be done more than once in a year. Okay. So they are giving you only one opportunity to revise accounts. This means all companies will have two AGMs, one AGM and then one revised EGM. For you, I don't know. Anyway, I don't think this is an opportunity for companies to do that. Then, as you asked me, sir, the circulation to the members of the details of revision only, but this will be done